Welcome back to Bazaar Morning Call. Well, this morning, the Gift Nifty is indicating a very, very positive opening. Now, I say very positive because it's 6 days of gains. And on top of that, the Nifty implied opening is up about 40 odd points. And HDFC Bank has now assumed leadership. I mean, it's just been 1 or 2 days, so let's see how that goes. Maybe too soon to say leadership has been assumed, but that'll definitely be a stock in focus. But Hindalco is the other one that we're looking at this morning, Nigel.
Well, kabhi khushi, kabhi gum. A few days ago, we had Hindalco where they announced, that on Novelis, they've gone up in terms of their capex by close to around 60%. The street didn't like it, but now it's time for khushi because yesterday they said that they're looking at an IPO of the Novelis, subsidy that they have. What does Novelis do in terms of numbers? Well, EBITDA is close to around $2 billion. You give it a multiple of roughly around 6 to around 6.5 times EV per EBITDA, and the total enterprise value could be in that vicinity of around 12 to around 13 billion. So that means the market cap or the equity value could be roughly around 7.5 to around 8 billion because they have a debt of around $4.6 billion. So that could be the rough market capitalization on listing. The questions remain is, how much of their stake are they looking to pay down in Novelis via this IPO that they're looking at? The second factor, what will they do with the funds? Because the money is going to be coming to Hindalco. Remember, if they had to use it for Novelis, then they would do a fresh issue. They wouldn't do this IPO. They wouldn't be selling shares. So that's going to be interesting to see because if the money comes to Hindalco, then what does Hindalco do with it? Is there a greenfield project that they're looking at? Will they send it back to Novelis? But that will be a lot of leakage in terms of taxation. So we'll have to figure out on that. Phillip Capital, though, they have come out with an interesting view. They cannot rule out the possibility of this money going to support Vodafone Idea. So that remains a bit of a question mark. But for the time being, the street has been net short on the stock. I expect it to open up well in the green.
All right, Nigel, thanks very much for that. Kabhi khushi, I like that.
Inform.
All right, well, more on that a little later. But Zee is going to be in focus again, and not in a good way. Nisha is here with more details. Nisha.
If we are going with the Bollywood theme of Kabhi Khushi Kabhi Gum, that also applies to Zee Entertainment because yesterday the stock was really buzzing in trade because of speculative reports that they have opened negotiations with Sony once again to revive the merger deal. But by the end of the day, Zee Entertainment has clarified to the exchanges on the exchange query that they are denying any such involvement or any such talk to revive the deal with Sony. And also they have said that they find this particular news report factually incorrect. On the other news that has come in today, another report that suggests that SEBI uncovers about $240 million of accounting issue at Zee. Now, remember that SEBI is already investigating fund diversion allegations against Zee Entertainment, and they're taken 8 months for that. That 8 months is not completed, so that investigation is underway, and we do not have any independent confirmation of what SEBI has uncovered at the moment. It could be premature, so the traders as well as the investors really need to be cautious about this. So these are the two informations on which Zee is going to react today, and it is likely to be a downward movement because the hopes of Sony deal falling through and not reviving is going to be a negative news.
All right. Thanks a lot, Nisha, for that. Well, more on a couple of other stories later, but we also have ABB's numbers that came through. Vamakshi is here to tell us about how the numbers look this time around. Vamakshi, good morning.
Well, yes, good morning, Sonia. When we look at the revenues, they did see an uptick of almost 14% on a year-on-year basis. They came in at 2,760 crores thereabouts, but this is lower than what we were actually expecting. But nevertheless, the company has managed to report the highest ever Q4 numbers in the last 5 years. They've also managed to report record annual revenue, and in fact, the revenue at the annual level has actually surpassed their own initial guidance of 10,000 crores. Not just that, they've also managed to report record high revenues for the year, standing at 12,319 crores. Definitely strong contribution was led by large orders. Order backlog as of December 31st, 2023 stood at 8,400 crores. This in turn provides revenue visibility for the company ahead. Not just that, the operational performance for the company was also much better than what the street was expecting. This was largely led by better cost absorption and increased volumes. In fact, gross margins for the entire year stood at 39.4% versus the company's own guidance of 35 to 37%. Q4 EBITDA margin definitely contracted. This this was on the back. This was largely on expected lines. It came in at 15.1%, but this decline that was expected is largely lower than expected. Net profit stood at 339 crores, up nearly 11% versus our poll of nearly 300 crores, and the return on capital employed has also managed to double from the 2019 levels. So all in all, a good set of numbers from ABB, and I expect the stock to open in the green today.
All right, thanks a lot for that. Well, Union Bank is the other one that we're looking at this morning. Abhishek is here to give us the fine print. Abhishek, how did it look?
Well, to begin with, sources tell CNBC-TV18 that Union Bank of India has launched a QIP, which means that they will be raising about 3,000 crore. 1,500 crore is the base deal size, and they can upside it to another 1,500 crore if given the demand is strong. And demand is strong. Sources do tell us that demand is about 4 times the total issue. Indicative price is about 135.65 per share, which is at a discount of 3.9% to closing price and 5% to SEBI floor price. Now, this is the second instance of fundraising being done by Union Bank of India in the last 6 months. They had raised about 5,000 crore in August 2023, and now they are raising about 3,000 crore. Had you invested back then, you would be sitting on a gain of 63% from that time QIP price to now. Calculation shows that with 3,000 crore of fundraise, Tier 1 ratio would improve by about 27 basis point to 13.3%. Net worth increases by 3.2% with an equity dilution of 3%. Book value increases by 0.27%. The Government of India holding comes down to below 75% post this QIP. Back to you.
Okay, all right, Abhishek, but you've got another one for us, Swan Energy as well. You've got details on the QIP?
Swan Energy has launched a QIP. Now, sources do tell us that the base deal size of about 3,000 crore, which can be scaled up by another 1,000 crore. So, in totality, they are looking to raise about 4,000 crore, which is a huge, dilution. It almost 20% of the equity might get diluted. Indicative price is about 670 per share. Now, this is at a discount of 4.7% to SEBI floor price and 10.8% to yesterday's closing price. So, massive discount over there with respect to closing price. The sole book running lead manager is Systematics. Back to you.
All right, thanks a lot for that. So that's on Swan Energy. But let's go across to Hormuz now. There were a couple of block deals that took place. Devyani International, Whirlpool, etc. Hormuz is going to give us the latest on that. Hormuz, over to you.
The promoter entity was indeed the seller, as we were talking about yesterday in Whirlpool. 24% equity changed hands, and after that stake sale, the promoters still have a 51% stake, and they'd use those proceeds to pay debt. But the bigger bit is who are the buyers in that transaction. SBI Mutual Fund was the biggest chunk of that deal, and it has now emerged as the largest public shareholder in Whirlpool. Now 7.2% stake it acquired. Aditya Birla Sun Life Mutual Fund, Society Generale, Nippon India, and DSP MF also acquired close to 0.5% stake in each in that transaction. Now, Devyani International, another block deal is anticipated today. It's likely to be a clean-out trade because Yum Brands is likely to sell that remaining 4.4% stake that it has. And the floor price is a 7.5% discount to Tuesday's close, which is 153.5. And the block deal size is likely to be close to 800 crore rupees. So most likely a negative reaction once the deal takes place, but may see a recovery after that. Back to you.
All right, Barnabas, thanks very much for that. Well, more in terms of block deals, it's block market, right? Jindal Saw, Jindal Stainless, Tourism Finance Corporation. Vivek, take it away.
Well, absolutely right. Quite a lot of blocks that happened in yesterday's trading session set to continue today as well. First on our list, Jindal Saw. Jindal Saw yesterday, Eriska Investment Fund was the one that sold a little over 23.5 lakh shares. Good set of buyers coming in there. Coptal Mauritius, Nippon India Mutual Fund, Samco Mutual Fund, as well as Society Generale. The second stock on the radar, a sharp mover yesterday was Jindal Stainless. ELM Park Fund was the one that sold almost 11.3 lakh shares, and the entire chunk was picked up by JSL Overseas Fund. And lastly, very interesting block deal, TFCI. Aditya Halvias, has picked up almost 13% stake in yesterday's block deal at close to 210 rupees a share. 3 sellers over there, Copra Thomas, you also had Pranastri Holding, as well as Varanium Advisors. All of them put together sold the entire 13% stake that was picked up by Aditya.
All right, thanks a lot for that. Well, here's a quick recap of our top stocks. Stocks with positive news flow. There's Hindalco, ABB India, Union Bank, Whirlpool, Jindal Saw, Jindal Stainless and TFCI, while stocks with negative news flow today, Zee Enterprises, Swan Energy and Devyani International.